Yes, graduates, welcome to Hard Talk Podcast with HTK. Fasten your seatbelts.
Hey, users and subscribers, welcome back to another episode of Hard Talk with HTK. Wow, what an evening it has been. There has been so many updates that I'm going to try my best to put everything into perspective for you, my subscribers. First of all, we're going to go down the whole press conference that was done by Dexter Todd. Dexter Todd came out and he revealed some crucial information with regards to how the investigation for the Adriana Younge case is going to go forward. We're going to listen to it and we're going to go into it bit by bit, just so you are aware of the new details that have leaked from this press conference. In addition, we are also going to be looking at this whole situation with Azim Mohamed. And you know, so I'm going to go in it because somebody come in my comments and come and talk about, oh, HTK, you're not get involved in a Guyana politics. I'm going to talk about everything what the people them love. And if you don't want to hear about the politics, I suggest you exit stage left. Yeah, man, because we're going to go in it. But anyway, we're going to discuss these things as well. Angela is raising her head yet again. And by Angela, we're talking about the TikToker with the two N's, making her crazy allegations about Sir Brian's family. All of this in today's episode. Right, so first of all, let's deal with this press conference. So Dexter Todd came out, he did a press conference, he addressed another case, and then he went into the Adriana Younge situation. Now, what I found really just bizarre when I was listening to Dexter Todd speak was how he broke down exactly the behaviors of the Guyanese police when it came to the Adriana Younge case. People, can you believe, say, the man I tell we said that none of the key people have been interviewed to date? Yes, not one of the key witnesses on the scene of the crime has been interviewed to date. So let me take a listen. And as I said, we're going to break it down bit by bit, all of the key points that he has pulled out.
Thank you. Now I come to the update of Adriana Younge. As you notice that this matter has been under investigation for some time. And this flows from the crime chief's last report to the media that the matter is still active. Now, there are a number of things that we would wish to address in relation to that. With taxpayers' money, a Canadian retired investigator came to Guyana. We met with him, myself and the parents and the aunt of this young girl. I outlined to the investigator that this is the components of this investigation is very complex. And therefore, it will require a number of focal points, and if so be experts, to deal with those various aspects of this investigation. Within 4 days after we spoke, we heard that the investigator left Guyana and a report was handed to the police, or handed to the government. From the report, we have not seen the report, so I will not comment in depth in relation to the report.
So you're trying to tell me that an investigator that was dealing with the case, handled the case, left a report with the police, left Guyana, and that you as a lawyer, you have not received a copy of this report to date? How does that make any sense? How is it that this report is being withheld from the defense attorney for the client? It doesn't make any sense, does it? And who is this ghost investigator that nobody knows of, who has just exited the country and just left a report just like that? I would have bet you any money said no report, no do. and no investigation never take place, and this is their way of just trying to make themselves look as though they did what they were supposed to do. Let's keep listening.
But I will say, as far what is in the public's domain is that there were certain utterances coming out from that report. That being that this is not a homicide investigation, and that the pool was not searched properly, and that the police had done a very thorough investigation, and that the handling of this young girl's body from the crime scene to the hospital to the mortuary was the best he has ever seen in all his 30 years. Now, we have a number of concerns here. He completed his investigations. Now we have a situation where the crime chief is saying the investigation is active. So it is a legitimate question. At the time in which the expert, it's not the expert, but the investigator, Canadian investigator, at the time in which he concluded his investigations, what was the stage of this matter? What was the stage of this matter? And which portions of the investigation remains open?
So, based on these statements that I'm hearing from Dexter Todd, the report was basically in favor of the Doubleday Hotel owner. They are saying that the conclusions from that report stated that the pool was not searched properly. Therefore, they could have missed Adriana's body. They're also saying that the body of Adriana Younge was handled well. This a person you must not have no sense. Because how you fi say on the crime scene that Adriana's body was handled well by the people, the police on the scene, when you have got Adriana's body being hoisted out of the water by her own father, a whole bunch of people surrounding the body, people touching the body, people standing up beside the body. Are you crazy? How is that the best that you've seen in your 30 years? Then your 30 years not worth much? Because even anybody looking from the outside could tell that that entire crime scene was contaminated. Let's keep listening.
I want to put on record that when we came on board of this matter, we selected a number of very experienced persons to assist privately with gathering information. Now that aided us in, of course, all the videos, etc., that we saw on social media. All those things were downloaded. All those things are being analyzed now at this stage. So a number of persons have said that they have not been interviewed. Now, these persons were seen on the video. They were seen on the crime scene. They were seen at certain intervals. We all saw them. Those persons have never been interviewed by the police. And so, at this stage, we are going to be calling on the police as we are going to be assisted by next week to have a report and some form of expanded photograph of the identity of certain persons. Some of them we have already gotten their names, and we are going to be asking the police whether these persons were interviewed. The police cannot say that these persons refused to give statements, because they did not. They were never contacted by the police.
Wow. Heights of slackness. And you hear what me I hear? This is heights of slackness. The first step in any criminal investigation is to interview key witnesses. Anybody who was present on the scene that would have had some insight as to the facts, the chronological order of events, needs to be a first protocol when it comes to putting together the story behind what took place. How can you ignore everybody that was at the scene? And how could this so called investigator investigate without witness statements? Listen to me now, man. Now, I ain't no member of the police department, but I think I've watched enough crime movies to actually come to the conclusion that this wasn't done right. Because witnesses are everything. Even over here in a big foreign, they rely upon witness statements to help police solve crime. So then, if it is that we are waiting all this time to then get to the people and get their statements, don't you think that by now human memory will start to take a toll? Critical information that would have been remembered on spot has now become dissipated, tainted, forgotten. How valuable are all of these statements going to be so many months on when you're supposed to strike those things when they're hot? When the memory is fresh and people can recall every little detail. This is them hoping that people would have forgotten certain key information because it's all about allowing the real perpetrators to slip through the loophole from what I am hearing. Let's keep listening.
And so that is what I want. When they talk about this 400, over 400 pages of report, I am a bit concerned where they got those things from. Because the key person, I can tell you, the person who started the life of this young girl being missing was never interviewed by the police, was never contacted by the police. That person who started the life never moved from that scene. Never moved from that scene. Now, she contacted us, and the first question I asked her is, why is it that if you had given a statement to the police, then we would at some stage see what you have submitted to the police. Don't discuss that with us. I understand police. I understand the protocols very well. I understand the conversations one can have during an active investigation, and I'm very careful of that. So I don't want to speak, or I have never spoken with anyone who the police have engaged and are dealing with. She outrightly said, I was never contacted by the police. And I have always been willing to give a detailed statement of everything I saw. And so she was advised to go ahead and to get her own attorney that she feels comfortable with and to prepare that statement. That statement was prepared. That statement, I believe, was received yesterday. And so we are in the process of sending that to the police to see whether they have received that and whether that is also a consideration that they will take into this matter. So this whole question of the police's conduct in this matter, I believe also gives a grave problem in this matter. Because from the beginning, we were asking the police, who are the investigators? And this question was being asked not because the legal team wanted to be in any way controversial to the police. But we understood the importance of this matter. We understood the fact that this matter had taken on recognition globally. And so we, as a legal team, we wanted to make sure that we support every single aspect where there are calls for experts to come in. We wanted to be able to recommend that, to cooperate. The police have remained silent on who the investigators are in this matter. So until now, we don't know who headed this investigation. We don't even know who to contact. We don't know who to contact. We don't know who to say outside of that, because clearly when we met with the Commissioner of Police, the Commissioner of Police was not fully briefed at the time and was waiting on the crime chief.
Now, wasn't it this columnist who was claiming that it was Todd who was keeping it secret who the investigators were? And yet, Todd is now making it clear that it was in fact the police department. Why did the police make this a secret? Is it that they did not want Dexter Todd to question or drill too much to find out that the investigation was not done properly? Is it that they wanted to hide the fact that they had not interviewed key witnesses? He's sounding as though during the gathering of all the essential information, he was made to run around in circles. Not even the chief of police was up to par with what was happening. What kind of failed communication is this? Because with an absence of the expert voices, there are gaps of knowledge and there is limited information that would lead to the justice for the little girl.
To get certain information. We wrote, Mr. Smart is here. Mr. Smart wrote a letter as agreed out of that meeting that we will write asking certain questions and getting certain clarifications. To this date, there has been no response to our letter. The only letter that we received a response to is when we requested a copy of the final postmortem report. And I would say we are in possession of that the police did hand that over at some time to us. And that report immediately went to the Dr. Carol Terry in Georgia, because as Dr. Terry explained, it's basically her role is basically one of quality assurance, of going over everything that was done. The questions posed by Dr. Terry still remains unanswered, because at this point in time, and I'm going to say this clearly, I don't believe the police are going to cooperate with Dr. Terry outside of giving her that report. Because if the police were interested in cooperating with that, with Dr. Terry and their request, their posture and their response to us as the legal team would have been quite different. Dr. Terry has questioned in relation to looking at videos, photographs of the pool, trying to determine whether there was anything in the pool that could have trapped her. She also requested very clear details in relation to the tile pattern, and that went now towards various impressions which were seen in the body, and wanted to see whether that was consistent with that of the tile in the pool. More than half of the pool, there are no tiles. No tiles. And so, really and truly, then, an important question that we had asked, if they did a toxicology report examination, where did they get the water from? Because at the time when the autopsy was done, that pool was empty. There was no water in that pool. So if they did take water from that pool, when did that happen? Because there were persons there, and that is what I'm saying, there were persons there remaining there at that crime scene who did not move and who could attest that they did not see the police remove any of that.
You know, the more I listen to this, the more my heart breaks, because there are certain things that he's talking about that is just common sense. And what kind of doltish police investigative work is this? For them to not have taken a sample of water from the pool for a comparison. The fact that they are withholding a full toxicology report to show that there was a comparison between any liquid in the body and liquid in the pool. That there were markings on Adriana's knees, on her legs, that seemed to have a pattern, which Dr. Terry had spotted from the get-go and really needed a crucial comparative point to say, well, okay, it's consistent with the tiles in the pool, only to now hear that more than half of the pool had no tiles. So then it does beg the question, was there something unsafe within the pool itself that would have trapped Adriana at the bottom if this is where she in fact lost her life? Was there some negligible act on the part of the Doubleday Hotel owner when it came to the maintenance and upkeeping of this pool that could have led to her tragic end? And because of the destroying of the scene, the draining of the pool after the fact, there is now no point of comparison. But I am hoping that they in fact still find a way to gather whatever evidence they can from even the remains. Because things like tiles and stuff like that, they don't disintegrate into nothing. But you know what? Of course, the Doubleday Hotel owner has been allowed to go back into the premises. He and his staff, his workers, could easily have done away with certain things that would have been crucial to point to their negligence if this was the case. The whole thing has gone, in English terms, tits up, no good at all. Let's keep listening.
So we have a number, and you see, this whole question in relation, that is why Dr. Terry wanted to see the toxicologist's report, because it is suggesting here that the only test that was conducted was to see whether there was any drugs in the girl's system, but not to test whether the fluids found in her body or that is the same of the pool. That test was not done at all. So there are too many unanswered questions in relation to this. And more importantly, we are aware, and we want to put this on record, we are aware that the cameras at that hotel, the cameras were active.
Wow, that is serious what he has just said. Did you hear it? Dexter Todd just said that they are aware that the cameras were in fact active. Which member of staff made away with those records? Who took the recordings that would have shown clearly what took place at the Doubleday Hotel? I am hearing so many issues around how evidence was handled in this case. And it also points to serious corruption, not just of the police, but of the Doubleday Hotel staff, including the owner. There is a high probability that this camera footage would have been key to determine what took place with Adriana Younge. Whoever it is that done away with this, no doubt, would have been very present on the scene when everything was going crazy. And this is the reason why I suspect the Doubleday Hotel owner is trying to mislead the public into thinking he was not there. Because he, if you remember, was witnessed exiting and returning. He and somebody else. Now, did they disappear for a moment to get rid of the camera footage and come back as though they were just going to the toilet? Because that's the excuse he gave, that he had gone to the toilet. Now, there is a very good reason why Son is trying to tell you that he was not there. Because something crucial happened at that point, those hours, from 1:30 when she went missing to the point when she turned up. Every moment of his presence needs to be accounted for, because it is during these hours that evidence was hidden. Evidence was removed from the scene. That camera footage is so crucial. Let's keep listening.
We are aware of that. We are aware as well that there are statements given to the police in relation to what they saw on the phone of a person of interest to that hotel. So so this whole question of I don't know if the police are waiting until I know that these things are stored in the clouds, and we currently have another expert looking at that. But the thing about it is that if the police think that they are going to wait until all these things are disappeared out of the clouds and you can't get any type of footage whatsoever, then to come to tell the public, or at some stage to say that we have no video, it remains questionable. We are also aware of the amount of DVRs that were handed over to the police that were retrieved from this. There are witnesses who saw when the police removed the DVR from the building. There are witnesses. There are witnesses who saw how many DVRs were handed over. And I can tell you the numbers differ. The numbers differ. I'm not going to call the numbers. They know the numbers. But I'm saying, not because the family and the legal team, we are not engaging the police on these various points, that they must think that the knowledge is not there in relation to what is going on in this matter. But as I said, we will not pursue a matter in court calling on the police to act in this investigation, because the police remain on record in saying that this matter is active. And so if there is any challenge, we're experienced lawyers. We know people are calling and saying, let us go to the court, let us go to the court. But if we go to the court and compel the police to do certain things, it is likely to be deemed a premature matter, because the police are saying that the matter is still under investigation and it's still active.
So the police are playing chess with you, basically. You're basically saying that they are deliberately saying no, that the case is active to delay court activities. They want court proceedings pushed aside or delayed as much as possible. They're buying themselves time in order to tidy up the mess that they've created. It now makes perfect sense. They know that you can't take them to court on matters when a case is currently active, because they're still doing their work. And all the court is going to say is wait until they've done their work. Now you've brought it to the fore that the recordings that were handed over were not matching in the number that they were seen in originality. Basically, they took out a certain amount of recordings on cassette, and then they handed over less than what they had. Now, what Dexter Todd said that I found fascinating is the fact that this camera footage is on somebody's phone. It's on somebody's phone. Now, if It's on anybody's phone, it's going to be on son's phone. Son Bola have the things them pan him phone in the cloud. I am hoping that that phone has been confiscated and that there are forensic experts in technology investigating all this footage or trying to get the data, including any data that could have been erased. Dexter Todd has assured that there are experts in the field dealing with this. So whatever he thought he may have gotten rid of can be salvageable. But it does take serious technological experts to be able to do this. People, this is getting more and more twisted and sinister. Let's listen to the final bit.
So we are awaiting the police to say they have concluded their investigations. And then we are going to present very clearly what is it we have. Then we are going to compare what the police has done and what we know from the investigations which were done on the ground. And then we will definitely battle this out in court. But we are calling on the police to recognize that their continued posture in this matter continues to be very worrying. You can't have an investigator submitting and saying certain findings, and then the crime chief is coming to say that the investigation is still active. Are they going to recall the investigator to now review additional work done on the matter? Is the investigator going to amend his report? So I think every time the message goes out there and it conflicts with what has been done before, it further opens the wound of the family members. And they of themselves are worried what is really happening in this matter.
A dire situation indeed. But you know, one of the things is that when you have got experts who are thorough, professional, transparent, and aggressive in their tenacity when it comes to getting the right results, you can have a sense of peace, knowing that your money is being put to work. Dexter Todd is showing me that he's an astute lawyer who is leaving no stones unturned, right? Clearly one of the best. Anyway, in the meantime, the family continues to feel the backlash of, the commentaries across social media, especially in the heavy political climate of Ghana right now. And it's really disgusting, despicable even, when you have characters like this woman, Angela, who will not shut her trap and allow the people to grieve in peace. She persistently torments this family, and something really needs to be done about cyberbullies like this. Anyway, I want you to take a listen to her latest video. All right, take a listen.
Hello, hi. I allegedly, let's put this out there like that. It was brought to my attention allegedly that the situation with Sir Brian and this school age girl, right? That people in Tuition, a lot of people in Tuition knows about this SA business with Sir Brian against this young school age girl. And they're saying that he's not as innocent as he portray himself to be. All right. So when he came and he was cursing me out and saying all of these stuff, he was actually tormented by the things that he did to this female. And it appears like the family fixed him because there's a lot of fixing up going on around the circle. So let's move on to Granny Carol. She's not a saint either, right? So to keep everybody fighting and coming at each other and doing all their little, whatever, and keep them under her spell, she fixed them too. She fixed them. Them people believe in so much voodoo and obia. This woman got dolls around her house, right? and she's fixing them so they would have confusion among themselves, so they can shift the attention off of her to them. All right. If anybody go to that woman house and they see them doll, don't touch them doll. Them doll, whatever voodoo they're doing, when they voodoo, the time for the voodoo is over and done, them doll gonna turn back and handle them. You understand? You see, voodoo, you gotta keep doing voodoo to hold voodoo. Notice how everything that the other side of the family is trying to do, from the second autopsy to trying to get justice, to speaking out, to reaching out to people in power to come up with a solution and find who and when and why the unaliving happened. Notice that nothing is moving. Notice nothing is moving in the other side family favor, because Grandma Carol, she got them under this voodoo spell, right? Whatever she wants, she gets. However she wants this dialogue to go, that's how she's gonna design it with voodoo to go. And allegedly, people that knows her, who's affiliated with her, who's around her, is spilling her tea. They don't want their name to call because they don't want to call themselves in trouble.
Then Angela with the two ends. You just said that Carol is busy working black magic, right? And that she is making sure that nothing but confusion ends up amongst the family members. And that even Sir Brian is under his mother's spell. And that she is directing this case so that the attention falls on Sir Brian and on the mother of his children. So don't you think you are an agent of the devil itself? Because you are focusing a lot of attention on Sir Brian. You are the one out here talking about Sir Brian and some underage child. This is a serious allegation that you're making here. And if you're making those kind of allegations, what is your substantial basis for saying things like this? Hearsay. What people have told you, people who probably also want to see Sir Brian on his face, especially as he's been asking for lions and tigers. You are also falling into enemy hands and creating a stumbling block in the way of achieving justice for Adriana. People like this here, I find them so despicable, because they come out and they emit all kinds of garbage from their mouth without doing any kind of due diligence or duty of care to ensure that they have got a substantial foundation for their argument. They don't have any facts. They don't have any reference point. They just chat a whole bag of crap. As they would say in Ghana, she chatting skunt as usual. Anyway, I just wanted to get this one out of the way and take your mind away from the heaviness of this case. But now we're going to go into Azim Mohamed. Now, remember I told you, HDK na them politician, we believe say all politicians corrupt, every single one of them. I've never come across a politician that don't have an ounce of corruption in them, every single one of them. But, people have been trying to convince me that this man is in fact a man of the people and he is the ideal replacement for the PPP. But he has now landed himself in scandal thanks to Doggy. Doggy and his behavior yesterday. If you haven't seen yesterday's video, you can go have a look. And more has come out with regards to that altercation that took place. I would like you to take a listen to this video after Azzy's house was invaded by, well, not house, wherever he was staying, I believe it was a hotel. It was invaded by police who came to have a word with him about obstructing justice. Take a listen.
Obstructing the course of justice. That's the charge. They came, the officers, 3 van load, came to Providence. It's a gated community. First thing is they lied to the security. They mentioned that they were going to Bikers Bar, but they ended up at my property. They bullied their way in. I wasn't there, I was up Linden. So they talked to my sister. My sister asked them, what's the problem? They said they want to talk to Azim Mohamed. That was 11:30 last night. So I contacted my attorneys and we came down here 9:30 this morning. I was arrested, and for 4 hours, I was sitting here for 4 hours. I had two meetings to attend, one in Wakenham, over 100 persons waiting there to see me, and one in Perica. I don't know what is this. This is a clear case of political persecution. Clear case. I hope the Carter Center and all the different observers are taking note with what is going on.
There's something important we should mention. The allegation against him.
Oh yes.
Discloses the allegation against him discloses really no known offense to law. The allegation, its length and breadth, is that he allegedly offered someone money, $500,000, to settle a grievance with a third party. Now, there is nothing nefarious about that. In fact, across the length of this country, courts would encourage parties. Y'all talk about it, y'all try to settle it. So not only is that, if it were true, frivolous, it is untrue, because we listened as the police called and called for 3 hours today. They called her phone, no answer. They went as far to go to her address. No luck. So this is a woman who the police claim gave a statement. But here she is, she's unwilling today to have a confrontation with my client. So again, we have never in the history of this country seen a government so shiveringly afraid of one man. We've seen allegations of murder being pelted. We've seen allegations of rape being heaped. Allegations of drug trafficking, tax fraud, gold smuggling. I mean, there is no limit to the allegations, the lengths, the depths to which this government will go. It's frightening.
So based on Azzy's legal representation, none of these allegations are sticking because he's alluding to the fact that this is all political propaganda, that they are pinning these allegations on Azim Mohamed because the PPP consider him to be a major threat to their future elections. And that, even the witness, even the person who they're claiming has an issue with Azim Mohamed is not coming forward. But there is word on the street, and there are things that are being, put out there on social media. It's alleged that this is a statement taken by the police, and the woman is making some pretty damning claims. I'm going to read it aloud for you. You make your decision about whether or not it sounds as though something like this could go so. You tell me. So according to the statement that is being put forward by this lady about what happened between herself and Doggy on the 16th of July, she's saying, he asked me how much money I want and I told him $500,000, and he replied to me saying people told him that I'm a menace to society. Having said that, the bearded security guard who was standing about 5 feet away from me told me, don't feel I don't know you living in MacDoom. He raised his jersey and showed me a black handgun that was tucked in his waist. I became fearful because I did not know what was their intentions. Azruddin then said he will give me the money in the morning, as in Wednesday the 16th, but I had to go with Doggy to the police station and finish the matter first. I then left and went home. So actually this was after the whole thing with Doggy. So, this was the day after, right? At about 15:30 hours, Doggy called me via messenger and told me that Azruddin would like to talk to me. Azruddin came on the call and inquired from me what had happened between Doggy and I, which I explained, and he replied, Doggy damn stupidness. I talked to Doggy about pulling his gun on people. Doggy then came back on the call and said Azruddin is sending a car for me and I should come to collect my money. Shortly after, a car came, collected me and took me back to the green field where I met with Azruddin. We had a conversation regarding the incident in the presence of Doggy. I showed Azruddin a video recording of the altercation between Doggy and I that was sent to my cell phone by Nikita Adcock. He looked at it and after started to curse Doggy, telling him he be a effing jackass. You pulling your gun upon a effing girl. Don't come back effing here until I call you because like you're effing stupid. Azruddin then paid me the $50,000 I had worked for at the event. He then asked me to look at the video a second time. I handed him my cell phone and he deleted the video from my phone, saying that it would look bad on his political party. I did not permit Azruddin to delete the video from my cell phone. He asked me who else has the video and I told him that Nikita had sent it to me. He then sends a car to collect her. While waiting on Nikita to arrive, Azruddin came to me angrily, saying the video done there on Facebook and I should not leave to go anywhere. He left and later returned and demanded that I take out a picture with him because he has to clear his party name. I became a bit timid because I was alone and there were several of his securities in the yard, and so I decided to take the picture. Shortly, Nikita came. I asked her why she posted the video to Facebook, but she did not reply. Azruddin had left to go somewhere. As I was about to leave the compound, a security, fair in complexion, strong built, about 5'10" in height, with long beard, told me I cannot leave the compound. I have to wait until Azruddin returns. About 1 hour after, Azruddin returned with Doggy. At that point, I had browsed Facebook and saw that the Guyana police force had issued a wanted bulletin for him. A man with Trinidadian accent told me to settle the matter and asked how much money I want. I told him $500,000. Doggy left and privately had a discussion with Azruddin. They then returned and Azruddin told me to finish the matter because it's looking bad on his party. Well, I'm assuming that it's party because this is all the snippet that we managed to get. So the picture that we see that he posted on Facebook, which I'm just going to remind you of it here, was after all of this had taken place, when he had made a decision to give her some money. What has come out of this is that she was basically being intimidated into keeping silent, but it had already gone bad. Now, I don't know if she had received the $500,000, but subsequently, after all of this allegedly took place, according to this statement, this post came out on Facebook. So according to this post, it says, breaking news, a Guyana police source has informed CGID that the young lady who was allegedly assaulted with a GUN by Bradley Sampson, aka Doggy, has allegedly disclosed to the police that she was paid $800K by a PPP member to make the complaint against Azim Mohamed. We now wait to see if the Guyana police force will change that PPP member with witnesses tampering, and I'm assuming that meant charge as opposed to change. Charge that PPP member with witnesses tampering and obstruction. CGID is in possession of the name of the PPP official. Very crazy post to make, you know. So this woman, she hustling left, right, and center, if what she's saying is true, or is she being intimidated into diverting the situation against the PPP? What the hell is going on here? This sounds like there's a lot of corruption that is being brought around this Azim Mohamed. And, you know what I say, I don't trust any politician at all, because this sounds like some thuggery. It sounds like, there are people who are henchmen who are acting out, i.e. Doggy, who don't know their place. And then we've got, money exchanging hands as bribery. Not a very good start to political aspirations. Not a very good start at all. And if this is the better of the two evils, one has got to really worry. Anyway, people, I just wanted to update you. let you know what's going on. If you've made it this far into the video, do not forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I'd really like to hear your opinions on this whole situation with this lady and all this money that's floating about to keep her quiet. And, what is your opinion really of Azim Mohamed and how he handled this situation if these allegations are in fact true? And please, please like up the video. Don't just watch it. Like it up and bounce it into the algorithms of YouTube so that people will see it. Okay? That's all we ask for over here. Big up your nice clean self. This is your girl, Head Teacher K, and I'm out.